record. All right, so it's our first call of the year, which is exciting. This is going to be kind of informal. I think I actually do have slides, but I think I'll probably just skip that now. But I just kind of wanted to chat with you guys about like being in a funk, and first of all, like how to notice it, and second of all, like what to do when you do notice it, and just some things on how you can get out of it. And I'm definitely going to hope that some of you guys will give some feedback too if this is something that you've been through, or even if you haven't figured it out, but you're in a funk. Like maybe some of you guys can share what you're going through, and maybe somebody else on the call will have advice. But I wanted to just share some things on how that you would, or like some ways that you would tell that you are actually in a funk, because sometimes you don't even realize it until maybe it's a little too late, or maybe, like just think that it's normal. Oh, it is normal, but I mean, you just don't notice it. So one of the ways is just kind of a lack of energy, not just like the normal tired from when you wake up in the morning, but just, like specifically relating to Beachbody, when you just don't have that energy that you normally put forth, whether it's towards your workout, or whether it's towards your content creation, or whether it's towards how you are interacting with your team or interacting with your challengers. You just don't have that energy to show up like you used to really like put that extra effort into helping them. That's definitely one way that you know that you're in a funk. The next one is that you don't feel like going to the events. Like maybe you're somebody that used to love Super Saturday, or you used to get excited to be on the team call, or you used to be excited about, the Success Club trip or whatever. And now you're just kind of at a point where you're like, it's fine. I can watch the recording, and then you know how that goes. So when you get to that place where it's just, you just don't see the value, or it's just not worth your time or excitement to go to the events that used to be a joy, that's definitely a sign that you're in a funk. Another one is if this job or role, or whatever you want to call being a coach, if it's starting to bore you. If you think back to when you first became a coach, and you think back to how exciting, like that exciting feeling that you had when people would like respond to your post about like, and even if it was like the worst Facebook post that like you did all the wrong things, you posted your link and you used a stock photo and like all the things that we're not supposed to do, but you did it and people responded, and you get that excited feeling. And you're like, oh, even if it has nothing to do with them wanting to actually like be in a challenge group, just the fact that they responded is so exciting in the beginning. But then, as you go on in the business, like, some of that stuff wears off, and some of that newness of the excitement of people following your journey wears off. So, when being a coach starts to bore you, and you don't wake up excited to check into your challenge group to see like if the 5 a.m. crew has already done their workout, that you're definitely, in a funk there. Another one that's kind of definitely a sign that you're in a funk is if you are kind of going on the yo-yo diet or exercise plan, where if you are having a hard time even doing the 21-day fix, like if 21 days of the same program is a hard task for you to stick to one program for 21 days, because you're wishy-washy and you're on again, off again, and you fell off this week and tomorrow you're going to run, and then, I'm going to try country heat. And like, if you just can't do that, you can't find that mental like consistency to stick with it, then you are probably in a funk. And the reason for that is that one of Beachbody's vital behaviors is being proof the product works. And if you can't stay committed to a program to actually get yourself results, then you are missing out on a big chunk of the vital behaviors, and you are not going to feel like you are performing like you should be, because you're not. So that is definitely a sign that you're in a funk if you're just having a hard time staying committed. And it's hard to ask other people to do something that you're not doing. So if you are not doing these programs and you're not drinking your shake and you're not trying to get on track to be a 365er, then it's very hard for you to tell somebody else to do that. And if you can't tell somebody else to do that, then you're going to be in a funk because you're not going to be growing in your business. So your own, physical fitness journey is huge. Okay, if you are starting to feel like every day in Beachbody land is the same, like, I got to wake up and, drink my Energize and do my workout, and then something happens to my screen. Hold on. This is weird. Hold on.
Somebody's sharing their screen.
Yeah. I'm just trying to figure out how to undo that. Let me see. Manage participants, maybe?
It says it's Kissery Martinez's screen.
Yeah.
If she could unshare or stop share.
Yeah.
I was scared to death when I saw a doctoral. I was like, God, you're not going for a doctorate degree now, are you?
I am not. Oh, wait. Lock screen sharing, maybe? Sorry, guys. 1 second. I think I may have it figured out. Okay. There we go. Sorry about that. Okay. Where was I? Let me see. Okay, so if you're starting to feel like every day in Beachbody land is the same old, where you're like, I just got to wake up today and I'm going to energize, and then I'm going to do my workout, and then I'm going to read my PD, and if it's just kind of like going through the motions of it, then you are definitely going to get into a funk, because it kind of goes into the one I said before, where you're just not excited about what you're doing anymore, and it's just not fulfilling. So if you're just treating every day the same old, then that probably means that you are in a funk. Another one is if you find yourself complaining about being a coach. And this isn't one that I find happening too often, but sometimes I do. And actually one of my old success partners used to have a problem with this, where she would complain about having to post on Facebook and having to check into her challenge groups. And I would remind her, that's what our job is. How cool is that? There's other people that are having to do horrible things that they don't want to do. I don't know, just something that's not their passion. And you're complaining about having to check into a challenge group. That's mind blowing. But I can see how that can happen when you're in a funk. It's because it's just not filling your tank. It's not feeding your passion for some reason. So that is definitely a warning sign to look out for if you are complaining about part of the things that you do as a coach. Because for the most part, the vital behaviors and the things that we need to do to grow our business every day should not be anything that you would complain about. Most of it you should be doing as a normal human being every day. Like, you should be doing these things to grow as a person. So it's really not anything that you should complain about. And let's see. Another definitely big red flag is if your family is starting to worry about you. If you've ever had like your spouse, or maybe if you have, children that are a little more aware of what you're doing, that say, Mom, I'm kind of starting to worry about you. You seem to be spending like way more time than usual, or you don't, like, if they just notice something is up in one way or another, even if it's Beachbody related or not, when your family is starting to notice, then you know that there's probably something up, and probably, some kind of a funk that you're in, whether it's Beachbody related or family related or just relationships or whatever. And the last one is like kind of part of the one that I've been going through is just, you just feel off, like I shared a little bit about this with you guys in my live video on New Year's Eve, where, I told you what some of the causes were for why I was feeling a little off. But when on the days where I feel off, typically I wake up excited and perky and happy, and I'm like, oh, I can't wait to share this video I just watched, and here's something cool I read in my PD, and like that comes very natural to me. Like, I'm excited to share that and talk about that. But then when I'm feeling off, I wake up, I'm still like happy when I wake up, but I just don't feel like I have anything to say. And I feel like, just to be totally honest, what I do is I go on Instagram and I'm like, oh, okay, I need to get inspired. So I pick up my phone, I look at Instagram, and I'm like, oh, okay, there's Michelle Harris's picture. She already worked out. I'm a loser because I haven't worked out, and I was supposed to work out an hour ago. And so then I scroll on through, and then I see like some other like post from some of those like success pages that I follow. And then, and then I see Boss Babe, and I start looking at those, and I'm like, so then it's like an hour later, and I still haven't posted a darn thing yet on Facebook, and I haven't worked out. And then I'm like, oh, gosh, what happened to my day? Because then it's already like 10 o'clock. Or especially it's really bad on Mondays, because if it gets to be towards 11 o'clock, then you're like, oh, well, I might as well just not do anything, because I'm going to listen to the National Wake Up Call. So I might as well just wait until I listen to the National Wake Up Call, and then I'll feel inspired enough to do something. So that can be a really bad spiral of events when that happens. And I think that it's normal. I've been, sharing what I've been going through with a lot of people. And I think it's totally something that everybody goes through, especially like as moms or, parents, people that work, and have multiple hats that you wear. It's very hard to always be on and always be like giving your full energy into every single one of those hats that you wear. So maybe you're like firing on all cylinders into your Beachbody business, and then when you're doing that, then maybe you're only like giving half of your best self towards your day job, and then you're only giving like 75% of your best self towards your marriage or towards your kids, or sometimes even less than that. And then when that happens, you just feel a little, like if you feel like you're gypping people, then, especially the people that matter, like your family, your kids, your day job, if you're somebody that likes your day job. Some of you on here actually do like your day jobs. So, then you just feel a little empty inside. And one day of that is okay. But then when it starts to carry on into 1 week and 1 month and 1 quarter, then that really starts to kind of like domino and compound to where you just kind of being off is more common than being on. So all of those are ways that you can kind of find, or just kind of like warnings or whatever, that you are in a funk. So has anybody gone through any of those things or feel like they're in those things, or does anybody want to share about any of those things? All of them. Yeah.
Jen, I'll touch on something. First of all, just thank you for being so open, and I think it's easy to have team calls and talk about just how great everything always is. So it's definitely nice and super relatable. I think for me, one thing I struggle when I'm in a funk is that's when I turn to binge eating, which then is so counterproductive, because here I am like telling people to count their containers as I'm not counting like countless Oreos, just like being crazy with my food. And then and then that feeds into the negativity, because now like I'm in a funk, I'm not eating right, and now I'm being a hypocrite, so I feel bad, so I'm going to go eat worse, and then you have no energy because I just ate like crap, and it's just like it feels like it spirals so fast. So that's just something kind of that I still deal with and struggle with, tying in that eating part to everything. But I can relate for sure.
Yeah. It's amazing how like so many of those kind of like, touch on each other. So it's like once you start to go down one path, it like all the other ones start happening too. It's like, what is that game called, like in an arcade where where it's like there's a ball and you shoot it down the thing and it hits
Pinball.
Skee ball?
Pinball. Oh no.
Skee ball?
not skee ball. There's like different themed ones.
Pinball?
Pinball. Yeah, I think that's what it's called. Yeah, so it's like once it hits one, it like hits onto another one, and it like gets points. That's like what happens when you get into a funk. Like you get one and then it shoots over to another one and it affects that area of your life, and then it goes down another tunnel and it affects another area of your life, and sometimes it's like hard to get back on track. So I am by no means an expert on how to deal with this or how to overcome it or how to fix it. But all I can tell you is that like the first thing for sure is noticing that something is up. So once that happens, the next thing is that you really need to talk to somebody about it. And, depending on what area that you're having the problem, you may feel guilty about it. You may feel embarrassed. You may feel, like there's something wrong with you for feeling this way. And I know, like, I am a person that has guilt a lot. Like I feel like people see me as this person that has all these good qualities of, oh, it's Jen. She's Zen like Jen. She goes with the flow. She's, all these things, successful, makes money, so she should be happy. She should like have it together. So then when I don't have it together, it makes me feel guilty for not having it together. So, so sometimes if you feel guilty for feeling the way you're feeling, it's hard to talk to somebody about it. But what I would tell you and urge you to do is, and that's why it's so important to have a success partner, especially like somebody that really knows you, that like even if you don't tell them that there's something wrong with you, they already know. And I'm, so grateful that I have some people like that in my life that I didn't say anything, but they already knew. And they can just tell there's something different. There's, something different in the way I'm talking on Facebook, or there's something different in the way that I'm interacting with them just on a friend-to-friend level. So that's why it's so important to have people like that in your life that just know you. They know you to your core, and they can just tell if there's something wrong. And even if it is embarrassing, or even if you feel like it's not even like worthy to bring up, it is, because if it's something that is like eating up at you, you need to find somebody to talk to about it. And sometimes like I've even felt guilty about like fitness related stuff, because you feel like, well, I'm a coach. I shouldn't have any trouble motivating myself to press play on the stupid thing. Like I have 4 vital behaviors. I should be able to do them, right? And so like you feel like if you are having trouble motivating yourself to do your workout, like you may have a hard time reaching out to your coach or your success partner to say that, because you feel like that should be a given, like that should be an easy task to finish in your day. So, don't prejudge your issue as being good enough or worthy enough or big enough to feel like it's a problem. So if you feel like you're having a problem with that, just tell whoever it is. So that was, I know for me, that was definitely huge. Like finally just talking about it, getting it off your chest really helps remove that weight. And once you kind of remove that weight from your shoulders, even if you don't know the answer, just removing the weight is like priceless. So does anybody have anything like in that area that they'd like to talk about? Like maybe something that you've done that has helped to kind of like help start the process of getting yourself out of a funk?
I'll jump in and talk. I'm really excited about this call, quite honestly, because I've known Jen, I think, almost like the longest maybe of everybody on here. So I think for me personally, like when I start getting out of my zone, I like to call it my zone, my Jenna self, like when I start feeling less than that, I always think it's great to have somebody else to, like, as your sounding board to kind of pull you out. But for me, like, I do this full time. So, like, when I get in a funk with this, like, this is our livelihood. Like, this is our whole life. So, and it spills over into everything else. So if I get in a funk with this, it essentially, like, kind of touches and pollutes a little bit of everything else, right? Like, if I'm not 100%. So for me, like, I think having another person, or like you said, Jen, like a good support system that can say, hey, you know what, like, I see there's a problem without you even having to say there's a problem. Mm-hmm. But for me too, like, I followed the word HALT. I don't know how many of you have heard of it. It's HALT. It stands for hungry, angry, lonely, and tired. And when I start feeling anything less than 100% myself, I like go through that check and I'm like, am I hungry? Am I angry? Am I lonely? Am I tired? Is there any one of those aspects that's not in balance in my life right now? Mm-hmm. And if there is, which, let's be real, like, we do get hungry, we do get angry, we do get lonely, we do get tired. Mm-hmm. Like, and usually if one of those things is out of whack, just a small course correct can bring that back into focus. Like, and if you can course correct a small issue in one of those areas, they don't compound over time. You know what I mean? So I think the minute that you start feeling any kind of sense of discomfort in your lifestyle of whatever it is, I think, like, for me, I always do that check, like, okay, oh, you know what? I'm feeling lonely today because I haven't seen my husband in 3 days, and that really sucks. And that's kind of spilling over into why I don't feel like showing up for work today, or I don't feel like being a good friend today, or I don't feel like doing my workout today. Like, and then I can kind of course correct, okay, like, my HALT is out of whack today. I need to figure out which area it is and how can I fix that. So for me, like, that's something, and that's from Al-Anon and AA. That's just something that we use in that a lot. So that's kind of something I use, and maybe that can help you guys too when you need to kind of course correct and just see if one of those areas is not feeling in balance, and then how can you get yourself back into balance with that. So that's what I have.
Yeah, that's awesome. I like that. Especially for you, because I imagine that a lot of the times it's probably the H. Yeah, I like that. Does anybody else have something that they'd like to share on something that has helped you get out of a funk? Even if it's not Beachbody related, even if it's just something else.
I'll go.
Okay.
Usually when I have problems and I can't focus, and I try to, because I'm constantly doing Beachbody things all day, every day. Like, that's just my life. And yet I'm getting nowhere with it. But usually when I get overwhelmed or things that happened personally that Jenna knows about come into my lifestyle. Vito, get out of here, please. I usually go outdoors. I go ride a bike. I go outside. I take a walk. Anything to do with outdoors, I usually go. And usually, when you see like the trees and when you feel the wind, okay, Vito, and you feel the wind and all that stuff, like, I don't know, it may be the hippie in me, but usually outdoors helps me a lot. Like, I get out of my funk, what Jenna calls it, and then I'm back at it again.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's awesome.
When you hear a
okay,
boom,
sorry.
the lights come on.
Wait, okay.
All right. Okay, so, there's lots of different ways, like, there's prayer, or there's, talking to somebody. You can post in the team page, that's always a great way to get support. But one thing that's, that I have learned, like, through personal development and stuff, is going back to a time that you did feel whole, like you did feel like you were, like, firing on all cylinders, and you were like, you were at your peak. And if you go back to that time of your life and just kind of think, what's different between then and now? Like, what changed? Am I doing a program I don't like? Am I, did a relationship change? Did I stop doing PD? And that sounds so basic, but I can't tell you how many times that was actually the answer to me. Like, I was like, oh my gosh, I haven't read a book in 2 weeks. And how could I have not noticed that? And so sometimes you're like, it just happens that way. But, so if you even if you actually write it out and just kind of write out what your day was looking like at that point where you feel like you were at your peak optimum operating level, and what you're doing right now, even down to the kind of music that you're listening to in your car. Like, maybe you were listening to YouTube's or Audible or call recordings or something like that. And then you kind of slowly transitioned from doing that into listening to more music. And something like that can even change your mindset and, your focus and your mood. And if you kind of do that reflection and kind of see what's different now and then, like, also maybe you stopped, like, maybe you were doing morning workouts and now you're doing afternoon. There's, like, so many different things that can really affect how you feel and how you are running your day. The other thing that I think is a good place to kind of put some reflection is on what you're doing to help fill your own cup. And this is something that I'm kind of struggling with and trying to find, like, a good solution for myself, because, what we do as coaches is we help inspire people and motivate people and lift other people up, and we add value and belief to other people. So it's a constant use of energy. It's a constant use of you pouring out your best to other people. You are giving them, like, these awesome words of motivation and inspiration, and you are, you're really giving them your best energy. And then if there is nothing that you're doing to help fill yourself back up, whether it's, just like a hobby or something that's giving you joy and filling up your love tank, like Nicole Cabe posted on my wall and gave me a little love today, then you'll find yourself dragging in a lot of those areas. And, like, the things we talked about in the beginning of the call, like some of the reasons that you go into a funk, you'll find yourself going down those things if you yourself are not feeling fulfilled. For those of us that went to the GoPro event for Winter Summit, Tony Robbins talked about fulfillment and how you can have all the success in the world. You can have all the money in the world. You can have all the fame, fortune, all that stuff. But if it's not fulfilling to you, then it's never going to be good enough. It's never going to get you to that point where you are satisfied and you are content and happy and fulfilled. So that's what I kind of want to end this call with, is just kind of thinking about, I mean, I know it's the first call of the year, and Carl did an amazing job today to really motivate us and to like get us excited about everything that Beachbody is doing. So that's why I wanted to take this time on our call tonight to just kind of focus on ourselves and, being our best coach self, so that we can be our best self and help more people, because you are going to be able to do that if you are filling your own tank, and it requires being intentional. The book that I'm reading right now is by John Maxwell, and it's called Intentional Living, and it ties in really well to some of the struggles that I'm dealing with, because I'm by nature, very passive person, very go with the flow. And that's very opposite of intentional. And so this book is really causing me to think about that and to be more intentional and to think about speaking up and taking action towards things that I want. So that's what I want you guys to think about tonight, after listening to this call, if you're listening to the recording, is what is going to fulfill you. Because the bottom line is that you are going to keep on falling into funks time after time, Beachbody related or not, if you are doing things that are not giving you fulfillment. If you are doing things, if you're just like taking action and doing things because that's what your to-do list says, you are not ending your day feeling fulfilled. And that road is going to lead you to feeling blah and unimpressed with your life. So find out what fulfills you. I think so many, especially around this time of year, we're always talking about resolutions and goals and things like that. But goals are great, and, having a vision board and things like that, totally on board with doing that. But what you really need to figure out is what it is that fulfills you. Is it time with your family? Is it, one-on-one time with the kids? Is it traveling? Is it, you need to find what it is that is going to fulfill you, and it's going to be different for each person. So that's what I would challenge you guys to do, and to really, put some time and reflection into thinking about that. And the second thing I really want you guys to be serious about is having that person that you can go to and share with when you're having a bad day, or you're having a time where you just feel not like yourself, or you just don't feel like you're, like you're in it. So it's so important. And I know I've been super grateful for, a lot of the people that have been helping me through my time of suckiness right now. And it definitely helps for people to be able to understand and know what you're going through. So you don't have to be alone. You have an entire fit family network here that, wants to love and support you and would never pass judgment on you, for what you're going through. So that's what I want you guys to think about and do. Find what fulfills you. Think about that, and make sure that you have somebody, that you can talk to when you're going through this, because the bottom line is it's going to happen, and it's going to happen more than once, I'm sure. So, have somebody that you can talk to and relate with, and that you can be that person to somebody else as well. So that's what I got for you guys. Thank you guys so much for being on for our first call of 2017. And I see a lot of people are already on the board with Success Club, which is awesome. And I know we had some announcements and stuff, but I just didn't feel like doing that. So I'll just post them in the group, and we have only less than a minute left. So I'll post the recording here shortly. I know Mike had some stuff to say about Winter Summit, but it's probably going to cut off, but you can try if you want to. No? Okay. All right. Well, he'll probably make a post in the group. So, all right, guys, have a good night. Bye.